Hi everyone, meteorologist Chad Evans here, and here we go again. We've got more flood warnings, we've got more severe weather, even today, and we're tracking another round with this severe thunderstorm watch that is up in Newton and Jasper and Benton counties. And we've got new severe thunderstorm warnings that are up for Newton and Jasper County as well. So it is a 11:18. This morning, we've already had some heavy storms in our eastern counties, and it's been really bad in east central Indiana. If you've got family anywhere from, well, really Madison, Indiana, all the way up to Hartford City or Portland or Marion or Muncie or Newcastle or Richmond, there is significant flooding going on. We have flash flood emergencies now for Richmond, Connorsville, Muncie, Newcastle. We've had up to 8-9 inches of rain really since overnight, and there is significant flooding going on in that part of the state. And we've got our own flooding going on. We've had up to 3 inches of rain in Howard and Tipton counties. The flash flood warning is up for Tipton County and Howard County for the next 2 hours and 11 minutes. So another very active night, another very active day. We also have flood warnings for the Wabash River. This is very important because we've got a lot of crops in the bottoms right now. So we're going to get flooding on the Wabash with a crest about 3 feet above flood stage by tomorrow evening in Lafayette. Now we also have a flood warning that is up for the Tippecanoe River as well. It should reach almost 19,000 cubic feet a second this evening. And there could be some flooding downstream, especially as it empties into the Wabash River. And there's another flood warning I want to click on here for the Oakdale Dam at Lake Freeman near Yeoman as well. It is projected to crest at about 4 feet above flood stage, and it looks like that's going to be just after midnight tonight. And that's some of that really heavy rain that fell upstream and is flowing into the Tippecanoe and flowing into the Wabash River. So keep that in mind. All right, now to the severe thunderstorm warning and the flood advisory. We've got a flood advisory that is up for the storms training over the same area here north of Rensselaer, and we're getting heavy storms now coming right back into a very flood-prone area right now because we had so much rainfall yesterday. Remember, southwestern Winnemac, we had more than 7.5 inches of rain, and we had more than 3 west of Medaryville. So heavy storms are moving right back into that area and are approaching northern Cass County right now. And more storms now occurring in southeast White, northeast Tippecanoe County, northern Clinton County. And the storms, of course, continue in Howard and Tipton counties as well. So this is kind of the leading edge of more of the surface-based instability, the boiling instability coming out of Illinois. But here's the main Boeing line that's coming in out of Illinois right now, moving in from the west and gradually organizing here. I'm going to go ahead and put my LSRs on the screen, which are the local storm reports from the National Weather Service. Again, it takes time for these to pop up because somebody has to manually enter them from NWS, but I want to go ahead and get those on, so if there is one entered, we see it. But a lot of times I like to give real-time data. I'll look at wind gusts and I'll look at your reports and get them on immediately. So there's the line coming in from the west, and there's your severe thunderstorm warning for gusts up to 60 miles an hour coming into Newton and Jasper County. Any hail should be, sub-severe. It's going to be less than 1 inch in diameter, but the main thing here is just the wind, the damaging wind that's coming in from the west. And these storms are moving at about 55 miles an hour. So that's how we're going to track these in the area, at about 55. I'll do a quick look at some of the wind data. And right there it is. And there's a new warning And now it's moved all the way down to southern Newton, southern Jasper County, and now it is up for Pulaski, southern Fulton, Cass, and northeast White County. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off the severe thunderstorm watch. Again, that may be expanded eastward, southeastward, but currently it's for Newton, Jasper, and Benton County. And we'll take the watch off the screen so we don't have that pink on there. If you're just joining me, 11:23, we'll let everybody continue to gather around here. We've got flooding on the Tippecanoe Wabash rivers that's going to be getting underway, if not already, with Crest tonight and tomorrow. And we've got the flood warnings up for Howard and Tipton County for flash flooding currently. We'll go ahead and get rid of the flood watch too in the background here in Illinois, so it's not as distracting. We'll get that flood watch off for everyone. Let's see. Well, I think I need to go back. I think it's one here. I think it's flash flood watch that's up in Illinois. We'll toggle that off the screen, so it's just a little easier to read here. All right, so there's where we are with the velocity product, and it's a little messy looking. I'm going to try to get a better vantage point. I'm going to pull the Chicago data. So there we go. It's a little better to read. And there's your wall of wind. That's high-res velocity. We'll subtract the storm movement. There's your damaging wind. That's your wall of damaging wind coming in from the northwest. It is right here. We can see it easily. It goes all the way back to Watseka and north of Cisna Park. And of course, there's Morocco and Rensselaer and Kentland. And the damaging winds are working east-southeastward. Again, we'll do a loop here. I'm going to go back. I'll go back about 14 frames and we'll do a loop. And let the data update. Let's try that again. And it's the bright red area. That's your wall of damaging wind coming in. And the really bright red, those are the winds that are likely 60 miles an hour racing in from the west-northwest, approaching Morocco right now. We're going to get good wind data out of Morocco, Lake Village, just north of Morocco, east of Morocco, and we'll get good data coming out of Kentland here very, very soon. There's the other warning for Winnemac and Fulton and Logansport and Royal Center for the storms too. But the main deal here is with the line coming in from the west, and this thing's racing pretty quickly. We'll go ahead and do a storm track at 55 miles an hour, but it may be speeding up. I may have to up this to 60 miles an hour because it surely is accelerating as it moves east-southeastward. And it's going to impact eventually Benton County, White County, Tippecanoe, Warren County. A lot of the area is going to be impacted by this line of severe storms. And again, the main threat here is just damaging winds. And there are the times of arrival. Goodland, 17 minutes, 8 minutes to Kentland, 13 to Brook. It's right at the back door here of Morocco. Mount Ayr, 19 minutes. Blowing into Lake Village right now. Fair Oaks, 26 minutes. Surrey, 25. Rensselaer, 26 minutes. Egypt, 21. Remington, 25. Hanging Grove, 35. It's storming right now at Asphaltum, Newland, and Bailey's Corner, but the main line will come through in about 38 minutes. I would say Wheatfield, it's just probably about, the main line's about 15 minutes away, and Teft, it's about 20. In Benton County, Sheffield, 11, Earl Park, 14, Freeland Park, 16 minutes. We're down to Talbot, 25, Ambia, 25 minutes. Now, Swanington's about 25 minutes away. Fowler, it's about 21. Wadena, 20. Atkinson, 27. Oxford, 29 minutes. Hooker Corner, half an hour. Pine Village, 33. Rainsville, 34 minutes to get to your location. We've got Chatterton, 37. Green Hill, 41 minutes. Otterburn, 37. Here in Tippecanoe County, 49 minutes to downtown Lafayette. Chauncey Village, 48. Purdue, 47. Shadeland, 49. Klondike, 44 minutes. Montmorency, 41. West Point, 47. We get down to the south side, Norma Jean Addition, Mason's Ridge, about 52 minutes away. Meadowbrook, it's about the same. Dayton, 57. Wyandotte, 59, so about an hour away. You get down to Monroe on 52 and Stockwell, it's about an hour away. Close to an hour at Pettit and Edna Mills. Piermont, about an hour. Heath, 55 minutes. We've got a thunderstorm right now at Americus, but it should be there, the main line, in 52 minutes. Colburn, 54. Octagon, 40 minutes. Brookston, 44 minutes. Chalmers, 42. 36 minutes to Round Girl for the main line with the best chance of damaging wind. Chalmers, Smithson, and Reynolds right along 43. It's about 41 minutes away. There's Seafield in 34. Wolcott, half an hour. Indiana Beach, 46. The Monticello area, it's about 47 minutes away. Modon, 40 minutes. Burnettsville, 56. Sitka, 48. Headley, Bell Center, about 53 minutes away. It's storming in Pulaski right now, which was hit very hard with heavy rain yesterday. 54 minutes away. Flooding is going to get underway there very soon. Francisville, 42. Winnemac, I would say it's about 50 minutes away. Thornhope, an hour. And then we get into Cass County. It's about an hour to 10 minutes away. Royal Center, an hour. Logansport, I would say an hour and 10, maybe an hour and 15 away from you. And then once we get to Adamsboro, which again, very hit by flooding yesterday, about an hour and 18 away. Grass Creek, hour and 7. Fulton, an hour and 15 from your location. And finally, Carroll and Northwest Clinton. If you're at Yeoman, 50 minutes. In Camden and Flora, more like an hour. More like an hour to Wasco. Cutler, about an hour and 8 minutes. Rossville, it's a little bit more than an hour away for the main line to get you with the damaging straight line winds of 60 miles an hour. So that's where we are right now in terms of the main line coming in from the west. In terms of tornado threat, it's not quite as high as it was yesterday. It cannot completely be ruled out, especially where this leading edge of the unstable air kind of links up with the line, where a little comma head may form up here, or a little S shape or line echo wave pattern may develop. We will keep an eye on that. And if that would occur, it would be a quick EF0 to EF1 spin up. But the main thing I'm looking for is the straight line wind threat. And just a side note here, we got a new flood warning for the Wabash. I'm going to quickly go to that really as fast, even though we got severe weather going on. It goes from south of Lafayette, and it looks like it goes all the way down through Park County and Vermilion County. So at least at Covington, we are expected to crest at about 2.5 feet above flood stage early Friday morning. Again, we got crops in the bottoms that are maturing. So this is going to be an impact of those crops in those bottom areas. We got a crust, let's see, about 2.6 above flood stage at Montezuma. And that crest is going to be early Saturday morning. So again, we got flooding on the Wabash, flooding on the Tippecanoe, flooding on the Wabash, flash flooding going on in Howard and Tipton County. We're going to get flash flood warnings, I think, up soon for Pulaski, parts of Jasper, and Cass. I am going to toggle the river flood warnings off the screen so it's a little easier to read here real quick. Just so we can read things just a little bit better. There we go. We'll toggle those off. Then we'll keep the other flood warnings, flash flood warnings on the screen. Again, it's past 11:30 now. A line of severe storms is coming in from the west once again today. The slight risk is up. Flood advisories are up now for northern Newton, northern Jasper County. Flood warnings up for Howard and Tipton counties. We're going to end up with more flood advisories and warnings here very, very soon. The line of storms is moving through Lake Village right now and Morocco, where the warnings are up as of right now. At least for now, the highest gust at the Lake Village Airport's been 29 miles an hour. So that's good. We'll wait on that data to update, but it's good that we're not getting 60 mile per hour gusts measured at the airport right now. Now, it does appear that that is not where the highest winds are located. There's a core of higher winds up near Lowell and north of Schneider, and the higher winds begin at about the Kankakee Sands down into Morocco. So you can see the wind's not as high here. Our best measurement is going to be Morocco, and I'm waiting on that data to come down. And once we get a good idea of the gusts at Morocco, we can warn everyone downstream. And also the gusts at Kentland. We know we're getting pretty good gusts here. I'm getting reports of those in eastern Iroquois County. Winds estimated at more than 55 miles an hour east of Donovan. And that is just northwest of Kentland. So we're likely getting some severe gusts here. We'll see if we can get a good measurement of one. The highest winds we can see here are located right here north of Morocco, in Morocco, and then to the south of Morocco, and then towards Sheldon and approaching Kentland and Milford, Illinois. That's where the highest winds in our area are at the current time. And it's all moving east-southeastward. So get ready in Mount Ayr and Brook. Again, there's no guarantee that everybody's getting a gust of 60 or as high as 65, but we know what we're seeing on radar. And we know those high winds are along State Road 14 if they're mixing down to the ground, and they are near Beaver City and right in the Morocco area, headed into Mount Ayr, headed for Rensselaer, Parr, and just south of Fair Oaks. And we know we've got the high winds at Ade moving towards Foresman, Egypt, and Brook as well. And we know that they're approaching Kentland, those bright red areas right now, and also Goodland. And we've got to watch western Benton County because we may have severe thunderstorm warnings issued there very soon. We see the wind cores in these storms developing north of Milford and southwest of Stockton, Illinois, all moving towards Benton County. Now, a little farther to the south, the line is messy. It may organize and elongate more and more southward. So don't let your guard down in Warren or Fountain or Vermilion or Park counties, even though it's much more organized up here. You know, this is where the damaging winds are really located right here. But you know, we just had a new warning for northern Vermilion County. This could organize very rapidly and also sweep through areas farther to the south. So just get ready downstream or just south of where the main area damaging winds are currently located, and get ready for the potential of winds 60 and 65 miles an hour. I've got a question here. What's the cause of these storms? Just days and days of storms. What's that ring of fire pattern? What you end up with is, you know, we had the derecho yesterday. That was officially classified as a derecho. We see that we've had this BOA storms producing wind damage here this morning, and it's right here moving into our area. The one yesterday had produced wind damage from this area all the way down to here. And that derecho lasted hours and hours with winds measured as high as 99 miles an hour. We had a 97 mile per hour wind gust in the Chicago suburbs and a 99 near Gary, Indiana. Our highest measured gust was 70, but we had winds gusting from it as high as 81 in Kentucky. And even at Cincinnati, Ohio, we had a gust of 68 miles an hour. And in typical derecho fashion, on the tail end of that derecho, the back end got hung up, and you had all this flooding in Kentucky and down into Tennessee. Now, this flooding's from storms that we had overnight with these flash flood emergencies in eastern and east central Indiana. But it's your typical ring of fire pattern. Very, very hot here, something we've talked about for weeks. It was 96 degrees yesterday in Evansville, temperature surging above 100 here in Missouri. And on the edge of that, you have a very strong jet stream, mid and upper level jet. And little disturbances pivot around that hot upper ridge. Underneath the upper ridge, it's sinking air, it's capped. And those disturbances are perfect because they're within the strong upper level and mid and upper level winds, and you've got this massive reservoir of highly unstable air. So the storms feed on that constantly. So it's kind of unlimited instability, and every disturbance pops a line of storms, and the storms right along the edge of the upper ridge because they can access the instability, and they're in the stronger mid and upper level winds and the colder air aloft. So we get these ring of fire patterns about every summer. A lot of times you get what are called progressive derechos, where they occur in the ring of fire on the edge of that upper ridge. So this ring of fire pattern, it's looked like it was going to kind of set in place for a while, and here it is. This is very typical ring of fire pattern weather. You got a hot ridge to our south and southwest, and all the storm clusters are firing right on the edge. And progressive derechos fire on the edge of upper ridges. And you say, what's a progressive derecho? Progressive derechos are the ones on the edge of the ridge in summer. Serial derechos occur with storm systems, and they're more in the spring or fall. Hybrid derechos are kind of a hybrid of both. You get a little bit of a ridge, but you also have storm systems coming through, and a lot of times they are in late spring or maybe early summer sort of thing. Or they're in early fall. But if we're going to get these progressive derechos, they're going to be generally in June, July, or August. And some of the most intense derechos we've ever had on record have been in June or August, actually. You know, the word derecho is just, it's just a very, very long-lived, significant damaging wind event. And that's what we had yesterday. We didn't get hit as hard as northern Illinois and Iowa, and even parts of Kentucky. But we had our own issues yesterday with all the power outages and the wind damage. It looks like we've got new flash flood warnings that are up. Flash flood warnings for Cass, Fulton, Miami County, and northeastern White and Pulaski County. Waiting on that warning to come up, and there it is. Storms are just training over areas that are saturated. So we've got more flooding underway in Pulaski, Cass, Miami, Fulton, Jasper, northern Newton counties. And that's another MO of this pattern. Repeated storms, and then you get storms that the tail end gets hung up, and you get just storm after storm after storm. So flash flooding is now underway in these same areas that we had yesterday. And I know, again, we've got schools in session. We want to be careful, the kids going home from school with all this flooding that's going to be going on. And we've got severe storms coming in to our northwestern counties. Again, the highest gust was 29 at the Lake Village Airport. So that's not severe, that's not significant, but you also have to notice here that the highest winds weren't there. The highest winds are up near Hebron, and now the highest winds are blowing through Mount Ayr, east of Brook. Kentland, they're approaching Earl Park, and they're coming into Hoopeston. We're going to have a severe thunderstorm warning, I think, very soon for Benton County. We've already got the warning that's up for Pulaski, Fulton, Cass, and White County, but there'll be one soon for Benton, I would guarantee, and I really think eventually we're going to get one for Warren County, because the winds are starting to organize here as far south as Ambia, and Lincoln office has already put out the warning for northern Vermilion County. I'll pull the central Illinois radar, and we see some of the that wind. It's kind of right on the edge of radar coverage there, but you get the idea here. Some of that wind making it as far south as Rossville, Illinois, that is. We'll go back to the Chicago radar, which really gives us the best vantage point of the wind right now. And there it is. Again, the high wind coming in. If we're getting gusts to 60, it's going to be with these brighter red areas. It's going to be south of Fair Oaks. It'll be near Mount Ayr. west, coming into Forsman right now and coming into Kentland. Now, keep in mind, not everybody's going to get gusts 60 or 65 miles an hour, but from a radar standpoint, we can see where that wind is located. We see the bright reds here. And looks like a new flash flood warning is now up for northern Newton and central and northern Jasper County. So flooding is ramping up. Northern Newton, northern Jasper, and now Pulaski, Fulton, Northeast White, Cass, and Miami counties all under flash flood warnings, with flash flooding either getting underway or going to begin shortly. Also, get ready in Benton County. We're already seeing the wind coming into northwest of Earl Park, Stockton, and Wellington, Illinois. A potential gust 60 or 65. Likely going to have a severe thunderstorm warning for this area right here where the X is very soon, because we're already seeing the damaging wind come into that area. So be aware in Benton County right now. In terms of the wind gusts that are being measured, I'm going to update my data right now because it's blown through Morocco, so we should have a good wind reading there. Again, I'm going to update the Lake Village data. Peak gust was 30 miles an hour at Lake Village. And I'm only going to keep track of the winds that exceed we'll keep track of the winds that exceed 35. I'll write those down. And also, I've had a couple questions here about hail. If we're getting any hail, it's going to be peas, a little pea-sized hail, and even a little pea-sized hail potentially over here with these storms out ahead of this main line. But it's all sub-severe. None of it is large hail. So going back, 30 miles an hour at Lake Village. And mind you, right now we've got 1,351 customers without power in Newton County. And we've got 721 without power in Jasper County. And keep in mind, even in Vermilion County, where the storms haven't come in yet, we still have almost 1,300 households without power from yesterday. And even Carroll County, we've got, 370 households without power. And Howard County has more than 1,500 without power right now. So in Newton County, some of this is from the storms we're getting now, and some of it is from some yesterday, and it's the same thing in Jasper County too. We don't have big power outage issues in Pulaski or Fulton or Cass or White or Miami right now, though. Now, White County looks like we got 168 households. But Newton County, right now, we're up to 1,351 without power, right as I speak. I mean, that may be from some of these storms that are coming in from the west. And we're going to wait on the winds that get measured at the Jasper County Airport too. It takes a little time for that data to update, but we're going to see here what we've got. If you're just joining me, so here we are, we're approaching, 10 till 12? Tracking a line of severe storms in the area that are blasting through. And the severe storms are lined up from south of Wheatfield, and then another severe storm northwest of Wheatfield, all the way to Rensselaer, Goodland, now coming into Earl Park and west of Ambia. I would consider severe thunderstorm warning all the way from Wheatfield down to Ambia and Fowler, Oxford, and west of Round Grove. I mean, I think this whole area is under a wind threat, whether you're in northwestern Warren County all the way. This whole area has the risk of gusts 60 to 65 miles an hour. Not everybody's going to get it, but from a radar standpoint, we see a wall of wind here coming in from the northwest. You can see it. Wind here. Here's your Boeing wall of wind here, and all the way down to Rossville, Illinois. Now, technically, the warning's Newton, Jasper, and Vermilion County, Illinois, but I would put Benton County in that warning and Northwest Warren. Northern Indiana already has Pulaski, Northeast White, Cass, and Fulton counties under that warning. But you can see the degree of wind we've got here. I'm just outlining where we have the best shot of getting winds of 60 to 65. I got that outlined in green. There is the direction of movement. This will eventually impact Monticello, Lafayette, Royal Center, Winnemac, Kewanna, Covington area, all that area. I got a question. What are the plus signs? Those plus signs are cloud to ground lightning strikes. So a lot of lightning mixed up in these storms right now. So anywhere you see those cloud to ground strikes, especially the white ones and lighter yellow ones, those are recent strikes that are coming out of these storms. Wipe the rainfall data back on the screen. Kankakee Sands has a wind sustained at 35 with just had a gust of 49. So we've got gusts up to 50 at Kankakee Sands. I do not know the height of that anemometer, but that has been the gust and that is near Enos, there in Newton County. So we don't know the height of the anemometer, whether it's 10 meters or not, or in an extremely open area, but that's been the gust at Kankakee Sands. At Morocco, I believe the data just came down. Peak gust just north of town has been 56. So we've had a gust of 56 just north of Morocco. So we're near 50 at Kankakee Sands. We've had a gust of 56 at Morocco. At Kentland, I know at Goodland right now we're getting some pretty strong wind. Winds are sustained in the 20s. Unfortunately, I'm not getting a Kentland. The Kentland data is old and it's not reading right now. I'm not able to get data. We'll check back on that, but I would bet we're probably, that's within that corridor of damaging wind. So let's do a quick little summary and do a storm track now as we're getting ever closer to noon. So you see there's just a lot going on this map. We have flash flood warnings that are up for this entire area that I've outlined on the screen in our forecast area right here. This whole area is under a flash flood warning. From Newton, Jasper, Pulaski, Fulton, Cass, Northeast White, Miami, Howard, Tipton counties. Some places have had more than 3 inches of rain over saturated ground. We're getting flooding underway. Storms are training over the same area right here, and in some cases, these soils are very wet, and these are torrential rains. Getting a report now of sustained gusts of more than 60 at Kentland. So that is important information because the anemometer hasn't updated. So thank you, Mary Sue. That is just extremely important information that you're giving right now. So there's a severe thunderstorm going through Kentland. We don't have a warning, but let's just consider Kentland, Remington, Goodland, Fowler, Oxford, Boswell, Earl Park under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. And even Northwest Warren County. I mean, let's just consider you under a severe thunderstorm warning. We see the wind on radar. It looks severe. Let's just consider you under a warning right now. So we've got the flooding underway anyway, but we've got a line of severe storms coming in from the northwest. The main threat here are damaging winds of 60 to 65 miles an hour. Now, not everybody's going to get that kind of wind, but we see multiple cores of damaging wind in this line of storms. And we can see them here, this bulging line of storms. And anywhere you see the brighter reds, those are damaging winds. And they're coming into Northwest Warren County. They're coming through Benton County. They're coming through Jasper County right now. Getting reports that, thank you, Eric, Earl Park isn't too bad yet. So that tells me maybe some of the worst is just northeast of you. It's blowing through Kentland right now. We're getting the severe gusts reported. We also see the severe gusts up here north of Wheatfield. So this is where the threat of damaging winds is located. All those areas I've got highlighted in green. And whether you're under a warning or not, I would just consider, I'm just going to draw where the severe warnings or the severe weather is likely occurring. It's here, and then all the way here through Benton County and then into northwest Warren County. Just consider those green areas right here. I would just consider all of these areas under severe thunderstorm warnings. Rather than having a random warning here and then a random warning here, just the whole thing, the severe thunderstorm warnings, the whole length of it, 60 to 65 mile per hour gusts. So let's do a storm track on the wind, on the line of storms coming in. I'm not going to do a storm track on the storms ahead of the line. Let's just do a track on the whole line with it moving at 55 miles an hour. And we'll do something like this. Draw it out ahead of it. And then draw it all through the much of the forecast area. So here are the times of arrival. Oxford 6 minutes, Otterburn 8 minutes, Green Hill 13, Independence 18, Williamsport 23, Kramer 19, Newtown 28, Petersburg 36 minutes, Kingman 47, Perrysville 43, Waynetown 38, Crawfordsville 43, Alamo 45, Darlington 42, half hour to Romney, half hour to Stockwell, about a half an hour to Dayton, downtown Lafayette 20 minutes, Chauncey it's about 20 minutes away, Klondike 15 minutes, Montmorency 11 minutes, West Point 19, Independence 18, Attica 22, Williamsport 23, Rob Roy 26 minutes, Stone Bluff half an hour, Newtown about a half an hour, Rainsville 10 to 15 minutes, about 10 minutes from Pine Village, Green Hill 13, Buck Creek 24, Battleground 19, Americus 24, Badger Grove 12, Brookston 17, Chalmers 18 minutes, 8 to Round Grove, Springboro 22, Radnor 31, Delphi 28, Yeoman 26, Idaville 32 minutes, Monticello 26, Reynolds to Chalmers about 20 minutes away, Monon 27, Sitka half an hour, Headley 38 minutes. It's storming in Pulaski now, but the main line is still more than a half an hour away. Same thing at Winnemac. It's coming into Francisville right now. Royal Center 44, Lucerne 49, Grass Creek 52, Kewanna 54, Fulton 59, 12 Mile 58 minutes, Logansport 48, 44 minutes from Deer Creek to Burlington, that whole corridor, all the way down to Middle Fork of Michigan Town. Cyclone 50 minutes, 44 minutes to Frankfort, Rossville, Mulberry 35 minutes, finally Lebanon. It's about an hour from you. And again, I would consider the whole line under a severe thunderstorm warning, whether you're under a warning or not. And I would even consider, because when we're looking at this from a radar standpoint, we see the bright reds here. We see the cores of damaging wind here, here, up through here, here, and here. So, you could almost have warnings like this, drawn out. Something like that. So just everybody be ready, warning or not, be ready downstream for potential gusts 60 or 65. We see them on radar. They could reach the surface at any time, whether you have a warning or not. We don't have as many warnings being issued today. We had a lot of warnings being issued yesterday. We don't have as many today, but we know we're getting the wind down to the surface in places because we had a gust of 56 at Morocco. And if we've had a gust of 56 at Morocco, and that didn't appear where the highest winds were located, we've had reports of winds greater than 60 at Kentland. So we know we're getting severe gusts here. And it looks like our gust east of Fowler, again, we're waiting on that data to update. It hasn't arrived yet. I'm still waiting on Kentland to see how high the wind was there. The power outage update still shows more than 1,550 without power in Newton County, and now we've got 721 households without power in Jasper County. And we'll be seeing Benton County update too. And hitting Remington now from Marianne, very dark. Right as we speak. We're going to wait on that wind data to come in from Marianne's weather station too. Which those weather stations very, very helpful, especially if you are, we like to standardize them. We like them in an airport area or a very open area, 10 meters up. Getting questions about hail from Isaac. If there's any hail in it, it's the deeper red areas in the storm, and it would be just some peas. It's nothing bigger than peas in the storms. Looks like the peak gust at Kankakee Sands was 49. The peak gust at just north of Morocco was 56. Still, the potential is there for some gusts, 60 to 65. West of Francisville, north of Wheatfield, in the Boswell, Ambia, Fowler areas, and then all the way into northwestern Warren County. Okay. Go back again. Now at the noon hour, the main line coming into our northwest counties, running from Francisville, Wheatfield, Medaryville, Francisville, down through Wolcott, west of Oxford, and all the way down to Covington. Main line of storms is blasting through, but flooding thunderstorms are occurring from Winnemac, Logansport, Peru, and Kokomo. Just tremendous flooding going on here. Tornado risk very low. This is mainly a damaging wind threat. It's not as if the whole line's producing winds of 60 to 65, but we see multiple cores of water-loaded gusts in the line. We know that we've already had measured gusts up around 50 to as high as 56 with ground truth at 10 meters up. At least I don't know what the height of the anemometer is at Kankakee Sands, but I know the gust was 49 there. And the main thing right now is we're just gradually tracking here. And what we're doing is we're matching up the radar data on the screen with the measured 10-meter gust to see what we're getting out of these. And there's the warning for Warren and Fountain. Again, if you are in Northwest White, Northwest Tippecanoe, and Benton County, I would consider you under a severe thunderstorm warning. I would pretty much put this area under a warning too, like this, to connect them all. I don't see where we're getting a warning here and here, but we're not here. But we are down here. You know what I mean? So I would just put this whole corridor. If we're getting a warning down here and we're getting one up here, then, well, these are severe warn too. This is a tricky area because you got Chicago Weather Service, Northern Indiana Weather Service, and Indy office all in one area. So it's hard to get three offices to have one main warning, if you will. So we'll just consider that area under a severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like in the Monon area, let me go back here. I'm going to go back to just the reflectivity. Northwest of Monon, I'm getting reports of very high wind right now. Very high wind along Highway 14 being reported. We're getting pea-sized hail that was reported at Kentland from Jim and a gust of 58 miles an hour. And this just a really great report. Thank you, Jim, for that report. So Jim at his place, and he's got a weather station there, gust of 58 with P hail. We had the 60 plus gusts near Kentland reported. Still waiting on the Kentland airport. I'm waiting on that data to update. And if my screen at any point freezes, I'm also on YouTube, and I don't have the freezing there so much. So make sure you check out YouTube as well. So far, this is what we have with the wind. We've got a 56, a 49, a 58, a plus 60, a 29 here though, but that was outside of the worst of the storms. And I would say we're getting severe gusts probably near Remington, moving into Monon, near Francisville, and probably here in southern Benton County. We've got the warning up for Warren County for gusts 60 to 65. And we'll do a track here in a second. We just did a track a few minutes ago. We're going to do another storm track here momentarily. Right now, what I'd like to do is just see what kind of gusts we're getting so we can warn everyone downstream. What we're going to do is we're going to see what the wind equipment's measuring, and then we're going to compare that to the radar data so we know what we're tracking downstream. And please, I can't emphasize enough, even if you don't have a warning in Benton County or White County, Brookston or Northwest Tippecanoe, I would just consider you under a warning. I mean, I don't see a scenario where only this part's severe and only this part's severe and this part's not, but this is sort of thing. Just the whole length of it. We've got the warning for Covington, Waynetown, all the way to Pine Village. This is a warning type storm for Fowler and Oxford and Boswell, and then Remington, Monon, and then we got the warning up to Winnemac and Francisville. So it'd be a situation just like this with your warning, the whole length of that. Pockets of gusts 60 to 65 are possible. Okay. And that wind is coming in just east of Fowler. The wind is coming into Monon right now. It should pass over that Monon station very shortly. We're getting some pretty strong winds. It looks like west of Medaryville. Looks like the gust there, though, was 40. So a little lighter west of Medaryville. I'll loop that for you so you can see that area. Not quite as intense there with the storm, so that makes sense. The worst of it is right around Francisville. So I think the winds are a lot higher around Francisville and Monon and not far from Remington. And then also this storm near Boswell and Oxford and Pine Village, that's an intense storm. And I would bet money that we're getting some pretty intense gusts out of that storm. Really deep red or bright red core here. I mean, these winds look like they're 60 or 65. Then that's moving towards Oxford. We'll see what we've had west of Pine Village via the wind. I'm going to actually loop that and see how that red core has evolved. So there it is. There are the damaging winds, and it's kind of popped up. I mean, we had it near Hoopston, Ambia, and then there's another core that's just south of Boswell headed for Pine Village. So get ready in that Pine Village area. It looks like it's right over Hooker Corner there on 26. And right there where 26 crosses 41 right now. And right now it's kind of a process of waiting on weather stations to update so I can give you real-time data. Okay, the Jasper County Airport has gusted to 51 so far from the northwest. So we know we've had a gust to 58 at Kentland. We've had a gust to 56 at Morocco. Reported gusts of more than 60 in the Kentland area from another spotter. Gust of 49 Kankakee Sands. Did I mention 56 at Morocco? I think I did. 40 west of Madairyville, and now the Jasper County Airport has gusted to 51 miles an hour. So we know these are cranking out some intense gusts and getting a lot of reports of lots of wind now in Warren County. And we see that wall of wind right here. I'm going to have to switch radar sources pretty soon as we outrun that northern Illinois data. We'll pull up Lincoln. That's not the best look either. There's the Indianapolis radar, and there's your wind core right there. It is just east of Fowler, especially west of Oxford, Hooker Corner area, Chase, Swanington. This area has the best chance of gusts 60 or better. And there's the new warning for White County. So again, the warnings are Pulaski, White, Northwest Cass, Fulton area right there. We've got Warren and Fountain right here. There's no reason why Benton County should not be under a warning. You're not going to have a break between warnings. So let's just draw this in. This is warning right here, Northwest Tippecanoe and Southeast Benton County. I mean, that is severe wind in Southeast Benton County. So you don't have a warning, but consider yourself in a warning at Oxford and east of Fowler and northwestern Tippecanoe County. So Otterman, just consider yourself in a severe thunderstorm warning. We've got kind of a weird gap here in warnings, and you're not going to have a gap here when you've got a wind core like that headed your way in Otterman. So let's just draw it in. Northwest Tippecanoe and then southeast Benton County, that X, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning now. And then we see the warning for Chalmers, Brookston, Monticello, and then Warren and into Fountain counties right now. We know that we see the damaging wind here. We see the wind blowing into northwest Warren County as well. There's the warning for 60 mile per hour gusts, perhaps a little higher than that. Again, I've had some questions about hail. Any hail in these storms going to be small. I mean, we've got some pea-sized cores here at Boswell. We've had pea hail at Kentland reported. We're likely getting pea-sized hail at Francisville. We likely have a little pea hail mixing in some of these storms ahead of the main line in Cass County and Miami County. But the hail's not considered severe. But it is mixing in with some of these damaging gusts. And there is the line of storms with potential damaging gusts coming in from the northwest, and it's approaching. It's coming right into Monticello now. It's storming in Royal Center, but the main line's coming in from the west. Lafayette, it's approaching. Crawfordsville, it's approaching, as well as Kingman, Perrysville, and Wingate. And it looks like this thing is speeding up. I want to see what the timing NWS has. Moving at 45. I've got it moving at 55. Let's keep the 55 track on it. Another thing I don't want to neglect is the flooding. There is a lot of flooding going on right in this area I'm outlining with X's. Miami County all the way to Newton County. Roads are likely flooding. We're getting 4-inch per hour rainfall rates in areas that had more than 6 inches of rain yesterday. And even in Howard County and Tipton County, some places have had more than 4 inches of rain, and it's still pouring rain. So flooding is big time going on here. Howard and Tipton counties as well. We've already got flash flood emergencies for Muncie and Connorsville, and just significant flooding going on. Muncie, Richmond, all the way down to Connorsville. Major flooding there. We're getting our own flooding woes in our area as well. So got a lot of kids in school. We're going to have flooding after school as well. This is the main event of the day, thankfully. But there's an awful lot of rain behind this, a lot of moderate to heavy rain with thunder and lightning all the way back to I-55 in Illinois. So it's going to rain for a while after the storms. We got to do some storm tracking now as the line is coming in from the northwest. So let's do a track. We'll start with the Covington to Monticello corridor. And I'm going to go out ahead of the line just like this. And we'll track it all the way southeastward. All right, going to be in downtown Lafayette and Chauncey in about 8 minutes, Klondike 5 minutes, with the notion that it's moving at 55. Purdue Research Park 7 minutes, Shadeland 6, West Point 6 minutes, Southside 11 minutes, Wyandotte 17, Dayton 16, Stockwell 18, Romney 15, Concord 15, Clarksville 22, Monroe 20 minutes to get to that location. Severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Tippecanoe County now. That should be up graphically soon. It's Tippecanoe, Carroll, Howard, Clinton, Boone, and Montgomery counties. Severe thunderstorm warnings for gusts to 60 or better. Linden, 19 minutes. 18 Darlington, 18 Garfield, about a half an hour to Crawfordsville. Yountsville, half an hour. Whitesville, 36. Shannondale, 34. New Richmond, Linden, Romney, 15 to 18 minutes. Wingate, 19 minutes. Colfax, 27. Lebanon, 43. Advance, 40. Antioch, 34. Half hour to Frankfort. Sedalia and Kilmore, 22 minutes to Mulberry, 25 to Rossville. Edna Mills, 21. Middle Fork, 37. Hillisburg, 41. Skirkleville, 43. Michigantown, 37. New London, 44. Judson, 44. Bringhurst, Flora, Cutler, and Camden. It's about a half an hour away. Rockfield, half an hour. Burroughs, 36. Deer Creek to Burlington, it's about 37 to 40 minutes away. 24 minutes to Delphi. Ash Grove, it's right at the back door here. About 15 minutes to Buck Creek and Americus. And finally, Climbers, it's less than 40 minutes away from your location. So there are some times of arrival for you. And then there's the back end continuing to elongate. We'll take it here through Park County. Rockville, half an hour. And then Kingman, 27. Perrysville, 22. Newport, 18. Highland, 20. Fairview Park, 23. Clinton, 25. Bridgeton, 36. Alamo, 39. Ladoga, 53. Newmarket, 47. There's Steam Corner in a half an hour for the worst of the line to get into your particular location that's moving at 55 miles an hour. 12:15 right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings are up. Cass, White, Carroll, Howard, Clinton, Tippecanoe, Warren, Fountain, Montgomery, Boone. I would still consider southeast Benton County under a severe thunderstorm warning. You've got a severe thunderstorm warning through that area right there with the X. Right there it is, and it's approaching Greater Lafayette. Get ready for potential winds 60 or better in Tippecanoe, White, down into Montgomery, Fountain counties. And it's blowing through Warren County and that southeast Benton County, southern White, eastern White corridor right now. Tornado threat, very low. Large hail threat is kind of non-existent, but there could be a little pea-sized hail that mixes in with some of these brighter red cores that we see within the line. Some wind gusts that have been recorded in our area. We had a gust of 58 at Kentland. We also had a gust of 51 at the Jasper County Airport, 56 at Morocco. Had an estimate of greater than 60 miles an hour reported near Kentland. New data will be coming in from Round Grove to see how high the winds did get there. The high winds are blowing through White County right now. We'll get some good wind data there very shortly. Wind gusts northeast of Monon, 60 miles an hour. Wind gusts just northwest of Monticello, 50. Sustained at 40. So we have had a severe gust northeast of Monon at 59.7. And then just northwest of Monticello, the gust is 50 so far. West of Madairyville was 40. This has gone over the Winnemac Airport, so we should have a gust there. We'll go up there. I'm going to broaden out just a little bit for you. We're going to loop this so you can see the whole line coming through. Peak gust at the Winnemac Airport, actually only 14 miles an hour. But it looks like they kind of missed the worst of it. They've just been getting kind of messy storms in that location. But I'm not so sure this data is updating, because we've only had 1/4 of an inch of rain measured at the Winnemac Airport, and it's been raining a lot more than that. Yeah, this data may not be updating at the airport. So we'll see, but I think the worst of the wind missed Winnemac. Whether that station updated or not, I don't think the winds got any higher than... They certainly didn't get any higher than 60 there. You see the break in the line. It just doesn't look as intense there. But there's just not been much wind at all at the airport if that data verifies. Now I'll wipe the wind data on the screen. And that's the Indianapolis data. We'll pull northern Indiana. That's a better vantage point. I'll loop it a little bit here. Yeah, I mean, if we had higher wind, it's north of that location. It almost looks like you've got higher wind here, and of course you've got this area high wind near Monon. Now we had the 60 over here with that. See that red core that pops up? You're basically looking at a belch, a microburst coming out of that storm. Watch closely right here near Monon. Watch right there. Boom, that's your 60 mile per hour gust. It's probably likely falling underneath the storm. That's why it's not bright red, but right there it is. You're seeing a microburst there near Monon. And then this is wind north of Winnemac. But at the airport, that kind of makes sense that the wind is not as strong. This wind does not look as strong either. So I would say Winnemac and south, the winds aren't as strong, but they're certainly intense in northern White County here. So my judgment is if we're getting a severe gust, it's probably here. We know they're occurring here and perhaps down here. White County Airport, we'll see how high the wind gets there. It hasn't moved over to that location just yet, I believe. We know that we've had a gust of 51 at the Jasper County Airport. According to the White County Airport, at least the max gust so far is 40. So that's not severe. That makes sense. It does not look as intense in Monticello. So where's the other best chance of severe gusts? Well, it's really Tippecanoe County. We got to watch this. This leading edge right here, and West Point, and Attica, and Independence, and even Covington here. Those look pretty intense. And here just south of Yeoman, wiping the wind data back on the screen. So right here, near Yeoman, Green Hill, Williamsport area. Do you see where the greatest amount of lightning is? That's just very intense. So very strong updraft. We've got a lot of wind out here too. Very strong updraft. So where I've got these X's, those are your best shots of getting a gust 60 or maybe a little bit more than that to knock some trees and limbs down. Okay. Looks like I'm just seeing what we've had at Pine Village, what kind of gusts that we've had there. I'm going to loop this and we're going to compare the data. Let's loop it. We'll go 7 frames and loop. Entire tree down. Neighbor just lost in Attica. So we're getting some intense wind in Attica right now. Thank you for that report. And yep, that's where some of the damaging wind is coming in. You see the brighter greens there that are belching out of these storms? Right here. And then right here. And here. We know we've had tree damage at Attica. Monticello Airport area gusts were just insane. High winds in Covington. So the White County Airport area, that airport station may not have updated yet. And yes, the storms are headed for McCutcheon. I've got questions about it. It's headed for my daughter, for example. It's headed towards the McCutcheon area. Ryan Harbor, winds sustained 20 to 25 on the west side. How long till it hits Lafayette? It's right at our back door right now. If you look outside, you're going to see it coming in from the northwest. Again, I'm just trying to see what kind of wind we're getting here in Warren, and like exact measurements in Warren and Benton County. Okay, west of Pine Village. Okay, 10 meters, a gust of 52. So we've had a gust of 52 west of Pine Village. Gust of 58 measured east of Fowler. So there's another severe gust. Kentland's had a 58. East of Fowler's had a 58. We've had a 52 west of Pine Village. 51 Jasper County Airport. 56 Morocco. 49 Kankakee Sands. Greater than 60 estimated. Near Kentland, I don't have any information from the Kentland Airport yet, but I would venture to say that's probably been severe, more than 60. Northeast of Monon, we had a 60. We had a 50 just northwest of Monticello. We're getting reports of really high wind near the White County Airport. I don't think the data is updated there. We've got a wind out of the southwest gusting to 23 right now. So the wind's going to switch to the northwest when the storm comes through. Attica has no power. Getting reports of trees down in northern Fountain County right now. We're getting new outages. We're now more than 1,350 in Newton County, 800 Jasper County, almost 500 in White County, almost 100 in Pulaski. That's good. We're not seeing a massive amount yet. And we'll keep refreshing this data with time. It is almost 12:30. High winds north of Monticello and Lake Schaefer. Power is out. Strong winds near Soldiers Home Road in 43. High winds in Delphi right now. So let's dig in. 12:23, 35 mile per hour gusts, Salisbury and Lindbergh from Ryan Harbor. I'm getting a report, White County from Vince. Wind was northeast, now south to southeast. Probably microbursts nearby, Vince. That's usually what that indicates. So let's see what we're indicating on radar. So best chance of severe gusts. Well north of Winnemac, headed for far northern Fulton County. This area, Royal Center, Rockfield, Yeoman, near Monticello, Idaville area. This area approaching or coming into the city of Lafayette and West Lafayette. Get ready. Not everybody's getting gusts 60 or 65, but we sure know that we've had a history of gusts reaching severe criteria. West Point area, all the way down through Attica and Williamsport, and also this core near Covington. Gusts potentially 60 or a little higher. Wipe the rainfall data back on the screen. There's your line. We're going to do a storm track on it. It's blasting through Lafayette right now, West Lafayette. We'll look at the Purdue Airport here very shortly. Again, a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. Logansport all the way down to Crawfordsville has got a severe thunderstorm warning. And I would even consider northern Cass County under a severe thunderstorm warning. Still getting a lot of reports of power outages in Fountain County, specifically the northern part of the county, and reports of trees down in northern Fountain County as well. And we'll look and see what the winds have done in Attica very shortly, but I think this is a good time to do some storm tracking to keep everybody alert downstream. So we'll take this data, move it at 55 miles an hour. Dayton 16 minutes, Wyandotte 15, Stockwell 13, Concord 9, Romney 5 minutes, Clarksville 15, Pettit 20, Heath 21. New Richmond 5 minutes, Linden 7, 13 minutes to Manchester, which is just north of 74, near Crawfordsville. Newmarket 23, Alamo 21, Waynetown 13, Elmdale 9, downtown Crawfordsville 17 minutes. Power is out in downtown Attica. Thank you, Lisa. Mays 23, Whitesville 24 minutes, Ladoga 28, Browns Valley 27, Waveland 29, Rockville 40 minutes, Annapolis 34, Marshall 33, Belmore 38, Ferndale 42, Cayuga about a half an hour, less than a half an hour to Kingman. 25 mile per hour sustained wind from Ryan Harbor and West Lafayette, Salisbury and Lindbergh, right there by the Payless. Lebanon and half an hour, Advance half an hour, Pike half an hour, 24 minutes to Thorntown, half an hour to Frankfort, Manson 23, half an hour to Michigan Town, Beer to Middle Fork. We get to Judson, about 40 minutes, Kokomo, about 50 minutes, and it's knocking on your back door at Deacon right now. That's where we stand in terms of times of arrival for the main line with severe weather risk. There's that other severe storm that I've been tracking just north of Winnemac. New severe thunderstorm warning for Rochester and northward for a gust of 60 or a little more and pea-sized hail. And again, there's your warnings. Logansport, Galveston, Flora, all gusts 60 to 65 miles an hour possible. Not everyone is getting that kind of wind, but there are cores of damaging wind in the storms from that. Again, tornado risk, very low. This is strictly a water-loaded wind threat, and some of these are microburst type gusts that will come out of these storms. And again, we've got power outages. We're getting outages in Fountain County. We're getting outages in Benton County, Newton, White, all the way to Pulaski County right now. And be aware of the flooding. We are getting new flooding issues. Streets flooding in front of Pioneer Elementary. High water, possible road closure on US 35. So significant flash flooding is going on. This whole area right here, just be very careful, especially with the kids going home from school today. Significant flash flooding is underway, especially in areas that were hit so hard yesterday by heavy rainfall. I mean, you see the kind of heavy rain we're getting now. Look at the heavy rain that we've had over the past, since yesterday morning. You add up how much rain has come down. Look at this. I mean, some places have had 9 inches or more of rain. Incredible rainfall amounts here, and now we're getting these 4 and 6 and 6.5 inch amounts in Howard and southern Miami County. So big flooding issues underway right now. So as of right now, it's a 12:30. So who's got the best chance of severe weather? Well, we got tree limbs down in Reynolds. No power in parts of Warren County. Limbs and lines down in Attica. A lot of power out in Attica. Wind has calmed down in West Lafayette, so you may have dodged a bullet there where you are, Ryan, on the west side. But we are getting limbs, trees down reported in northern Fountain County. Getting reports of limbs down north of Williamsport, limbs down at Reynolds. Again, tornado risk very low. This is strictly a wind threat and a flood threat and pea-sized hail threat here. So we'll wipe the wind data back on the screen. So who's got the best chance of damaging wind right now? Well, I can tell you from the history of these storms, for example, this gives you a look at what has already occurred. So I'm going to circle from a radar standpoint where some of the higher winds are being indicated. Here and up through here, down here, here, and here. And way up here in northern Fulton County. Now, from the history of these, what have we had? Well, Morocco had a gust of 56. We know that. We know the gust at Kankakee Sands was 49. We know the gust at Kentland was 58, but we did have a report near Kentland of plus 60. We had a gust of 40 west of Madairyville. The Jasper County Airport measured a gust of 51. We know here near Monon the gust was 60. We know we've got limbs down in Reynolds, which makes sense. We know we also had a gust just northwest of Monticello. I don't know how high that anemometer is, but a private weather station had a gust of 50. Winds were sustained at 40. 52 miles an hour west of Pine Village. East of Fowler, we had a gust of 58. And Round Grove, I don't think I got anything. They kind of cut out on me. Right now, just southeast of Covington, we've had gusts of 27, so that's good news. It's nothing too out of control yet. Nothing too out of control south of Montmorency being measured right now. We'll await the Purdue Airport and Lafayette Timber House Airport for those weather stations to update. I want to go... I want to see what I want to go to northern Fountain County really quick. Big wind south of Colburn. Quiet now in Klondike. If I'm breaking up for anyone, I should be better on YouTube. You can also check that out if you have any issues or refresh your screen. Getting reports of limbs down west of Monon, which makes sense. You know, northeast of Monon, we had a gust of 60. I do actually have a report here just south of Highway 16 on, just south of 16 on North 300 west of a wind gust measured at 59. And that's on a farm, just southwest of Monon. The winds were sustained at 43. The wind just northeast of Monon was sustained at 44. So we've had two gusts of severe strength around Monon. So we got a 59 here. So there's another severe gust that we've had. Okay, just east of Attica, a measured gust of 59. So there's another severe gust that we've had. Just east of Attica, 59 here. So we're getting severe gusts here being produced by these storms. It's likely not everybody, but we know the history of the storms. It appears the West Lafayette's dodged a bullet. North White schools without power. Still having normal Wednesday early releases scheduled. Thank you so much, Polly. If anyone has school information, that's extremely helpful because we probably have parents on here watching. Because a lot of them, kids are going to be going home from school. We've got a lot of flooding, especially in the northern part of our area and eastern part of our area. We likely have some tree limbs and trees down on some roads. So this is very important for buses going on here. So North White out of power, but still having normal Wednesday early release. And still nothing out of control that I'm seeing from south of Montmorency from that weather station, which is often a good read for what's coming into Greater Lafayette. Winds are sustained at 29 at Fulton, Indiana. So that is up here. They are gusting more than 30. But it looks like the main core damaging wind is just northwest and north of Rochester. Again, I've circled the areas that have the best shot of producing 60 to a little more than 60 miles an hour. And what I have on the screen, those numbers, those are actual measured winds that you see on the screen, those numbers. So the line now is blasting into Logansport, Deer Creek, Rossville, Stockwell, Wingate, and Kingman. So I'm going to take the writing off the screen. You can see the wind surging forward from a radar standpoint here. When we subtract the movement, again, the wind shows up well here. You see the leading edge of this wind right here, these bulges of wind in the storm. Again, not everybody's going to get severe gusts, but I would say that here, this area here, down here, and here, and here, and perhaps here, have shots at getting gusts 60 or more. So you got the warnings, Cass, Northern Fulton, you got Western Howard, Carroll, Clinton, Southeast Tippecanoe, East Tippecanoe, Montgomery, and Boone counties all under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. And again, you can really see that's where a lot of this wind is located. It's not so much right here. I mean, Fulton, we're sustained at 29 with gusts more than 30, but we're not getting severe wind at that location, at least right now. We'll subtract the wind movement, and the gusts still show up pretty well in the line. We're getting really strong winds being reported now in northern Carroll County. The only thing I'm seeing at the White County Airport, and I don't know whether the data is not updating or what, but all I'm seeing is a wind southwest at 17 with a temperature of 71. I don't know if that's updated yet or not. At the Purdue Airport, we had a gust of 37. So we had a gust of 37 at 12:26 and 12:29. Of course, the peak gust yesterday was 63.3 miles an hour. But so far, the gust has been 37. Now, that actually makes sense because from what we're seeing from a radar standpoint, the highest winds are not located at that location. They're not there. They're farther south and southeast of there, and actually kind of northeast of there. So the radar is kind of backing this up. Now we know we've had a 59 over here. We know we've had a 37 here, which makes sense. And we know we've had 59, 60 up here. So that's what we're watching downstream from these higher gusts. I think down here, it's really south of the Purdue Airport. That wind that went through Attica is kind of going through southern Tippecanoe County right now. So I think our best chance of getting any severe gusts and any wind damage is probably the southern part of Tippecanoe County and perhaps this area northwest of Rossville. But we'll monitor with what data that we have available to us. Yeah, Lafayette Timber House Arrow, not updated. The wind is still southwest, gusting to 25. So we'll await that data to come through. But I would say right now, we got a good shot at getting a gust of 60 or a little better near the Stockwell area and Clarks Hill. And remember, we got James Cole Elementary out this way. So just get ready for that kind of wind near that location. Whether it's exactly at the school, we'll see. But this is a pretty intense storm. There's a big uptick in lightning. We see a lighter green core here. We see the core damaging wind in the storm that could come down at any time. Trees down in Attica. Estimated gusts greater than 60 in Attica. Wind damage. So let me go back here. We are getting reports now of wind damage at Rushville. Power lines down on the south side of Kokomo on Highway 26. So that is actually with the storm ahead of the line. Let's go back here. That's not the best viewpoint. Let me pull northern Indiana. I'm just trying to get a good vantage point here for you. Let's loop this a little bit. So we've got a lot of wind and just a lot of water-loaded wind in these storms out ahead of the main line. So here's your main line here with the wind threat. Again, we're getting wind damage reports here. Probably just damaging wind cores that are belching out of these storms due to water loading, I would say. Let's look a little closer. A lot of times you can see the belches of wind coming out of those storms, but we're really not seeing that at that location. Let me look here. So this would be wind that's blowing away from the radar. This is towards the radar. So these storms appear to have wind locked up in them anyway. So the alarm should be up given that information. You got to have the alarm up even for these storms ahead of it, because I think what we're getting is microburst water loading in these storms. No rotation in any of them, but these storms ahead of them we're getting water loading, and we're likely seeing some microburst type winds come out of these where you see these darker red areas. I'm going to look at the Grissom Air Reserve Base because we had some of the same type of storms move over that area too. A gust of 37 at the Grissom Air Reserve Base from those storms. But what's interesting to me, as those storms were moving by, we had sharp wind shifts. The wind was south, south, southwest, southwest, south, and then it went to the southeast. So that tells me, if you've got wind blowing here and then it turns this way real quick and then back, we probably have had some water-loaded microburst type winds in this area. The Kokomo Airport weather station is down. I don't have any data from that location. But from the reports I'm getting, it was the south side of Kokomo and also at Rushville that we're getting the power lines and the trees down in that location. The line is coming into Galveston now. We'll watch the Galveston airport to see how high the winds get. Winds are sustained at 25 at the Galveston airport. No data coming out of the Flora airport right now. The storms are blowing into Michigan town right now. So it's Bunker Hill, west of Peru, Bunker Hill, Galveston, approaching Rushville, Michigan town, Colfax, and Darlington. So potential of some damaging gusts right with these Boeing signatures in the line, and then all the way back to Crawfordsville. And now we're getting storms coming into Vermilion and Park County. Again, as expected, the line's elongating. We're going to have a warning right here issued very soon, I would say. These are intensifying very, very rapidly. What is water load of microbursts? Kiera, that's a great question. What we end up with is rain is pouring out of a storm. We have torrential flooding rain going on in Howard and Tipton counties right now, and Miami County. And you've already got some wind energy wrapped up in that storm. And when it rains so hard, you pull that wind energy down to the surface. It's like a weight. It pulls the wind energy down, and that wind essentially hits the ground like a bowling ball. It hits the ground, and the damage pattern will fan out. So the trees and limbs will be facing this direction here, and this direction here, and it may only be a mile-wide area or 2-mile-wide area that gets the damage. But it downs trees, it downs power lines. We've had microbursts more than 100 miles an hour. These microbursts are probably 60 to 70 if we're getting them. And it is apparent we've probably had one south side of Kokomo and near Rushville. Now, with the line coming in from the west, you've got some corridors of kind of straight line wind coming in that may produce some damage. The storms ahead of it, the wind just drops out of the storm like if I dropped a bowling ball onto a grassy area, and then you see where the indentation of the bowling ball sort of thing. So that's what we've got here north of Greentown, possibly near Amboy, and north of Tipton. Whereas the bow with the wind is roaring into Grissom and Peru and Mexico, and we've got severe winds likely now northeast of Rochester. We got a warning there. These could be some severe gusts coming into Peru and Grissom up to 60. These could be some gusts, perhaps 60 or a little more. Athens and northeast of Rochester. Same thing here in western Howard, and perhaps to Galveston too. Wind threat here into Frankfort, wind threat into Thorntown and Darlington with the warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, wind threat into Crawfordsville and Alamo. And we got a new bow that's forming down here from Wallace and Newport down to Highland. Lots of trees down in Attica. Still getting a lot of trees. It looks like a war zone. Many trees down in Attica. Those winds likely exceeded 60, even though we had a 59 east of Attica. When you're getting that kind of damage, you've likely had winds greater than 60 miles an hour. And I'm getting reports of trees actually snapped in Attica, snapped at the base. So that's more than 60 miles an hour. And getting other reports of tree damage northeast of Attica and north of Williamsport too. So get ready for the warning here at Alamo, Waveland, Bridgeton, Rockville, Clinton, Marshall. You're going to have a severe thunderstorm warning very soon, and your wind damage threat's going to be going up. Lafayette Timber House Airport is gusting to 35 from the storms, or has gusted to 35. So that's better. We're in better shape there. The gust was 37 at the Purdue Airport. So we've had a little gap here in Greater Lafayette where we've dodged a lot of the severe wind. Now, that's certainly not for everybody, though. We know we've had multiple severe gusts. In the area. So I'm going to go through a receipt here. I'm going to do a reset because we're approaching 1 o'clock. So I want to do a reset here and broaden out on our radar. There's some more flooding we've got going on. Flooding in Roselawn. A lot of flooding in northern Cass County, and a lot of flooding also being reported now in southern Pulaski and northern Pulaski County. Flooding also being reported in Howard County, ditches overflowing county roads. And that's probably the same in Miami County as well. Let's see what we've got here. Doing my best here to kind of go through all the wind data so you're updated. I want to give you real-time data as best as I can. As best I can, I guess I should say. Peak gust was 37 at Fulton in southeastern Fulton County. In the warned area, northeast of Rochester, so far just north of Athens, the highest gust has been 34 miles an hour. Let's go here. I'm going to dig. We're going to refresh. Again, 51 at the Jasper County Airport, 56 Morocco, 58 Kentland, greater than 60 at Kentland, likely greater than 60 at Attica. I've had reports of that. 50 just northwest of Monticello. We've had gusts 59 southwest of Monon, 60 northeast of Monon, 40 west of Medaryville, 58 east of Fowler, 59 east of Attica by several miles though, and again likely greater than 60 in Attica with lots of trees down reported. The Purdue Airport's again gusted to 37. The highest gust I am reading currently for the White County Airport is 40. That's what it's labeled. Yeah, max gust 40. But the winds were likely higher than that, north and just south of there. Oh, Tracy Felty. Oh, I love Tracy. Good to hear from you, Tracy. Yes, yes. Communications there, yeah. The METAR data is having a tough time updating. Yeah. Tracy's a great guy. Meteorologist I used to work with. We worked together in Evansville, Tracy. You remember that. That was a good time. Yeah. Clark's Hill getting hit hard right now. Makes sense. That's that wind core we were tracking. Yeah, we're getting a lot of errors and a lot of communication issues with AWOS and ASOS at airports. But some of our airport data is not AWOS, like Galveston and Flora and the Winnemac Airport, Medaryville Airport, Sheridan, Lafayette Timber House, all those airports, those aren't official AWOS, but they're 10 meters up. Oh yeah, Tracy, last show tomorrow night. Okay, good luck. Releasing school early at Pioneer. Now, I believe from what I saw earlier, North White has no power, but they're still keeping normal time. But they're releasing early at Pioneer. That is coming from Lisa. So we've been hit very hard reportedly at Clark's Hill. So let's zoom in on that area there. You see that? There's that wind core right there. See that bright green? via the radar standpoint, blasting through the Clarks Hill area all the way to Colfax. Also, the wind coming into Frankfort and approaching Michigan Town right now. And another little wind core maybe kind of coming into southwest of Crawfordsville. We'll see what kind of wind we get at the Crawfordsville airport as long as the communication errors aren't occurring. And some pretty intense wind coming into northern Park County right now. You see it right here and here west of Dana. So I have no doubt we're going to have a severe thunderstorm warning soon for Park County. Right here, these storms they're looking severe right in this zone. So I would almost consider us under a severe thunderstorm warning in Park County, in southern Vermilion and southwest Montgomery County. Not so much here, oddly, but here, yes. And over here, yes. Up here, yes. So you can see the wind cores, and where the greater wind cores, where they're corresponding with the greater lightning, you know you're getting severe gusts. And we can see them right here. We can see a core here as well. Somewhat here, it's not as much lightning, but it looks like a pretty good core headed for the Michigan Town area. No more warnings up for Miami or Howard, but this is a pretty good wall of wind that's coming in here, at least from a radar standpoint. Kokomo, Rushville area, and somewhat here approaching the Grissom Air Reserve Base. Now farther north, the wind data is not as intense. We'll take the northern Indiana radar. Not as bad here. Thus, the warning has been canceled for Fulton County. And the storms from the current standpoint don't look severe coming into Miami County, though it wouldn't surprise me if we've got some gusts perhaps near 50 in spots. The main area I'm watching, and I'll pull up Indianapolis once again. Yeah, it's really these cores down here. Park, Vermilion, parts of Clinton County here, and even here near Rushville. I think those are the main areas I'd watch for wind damage. Yeah, trees down everywhere. Northern Fountain County, especially around Attica, no power. So Attica has been hit very hard, and we saw that wind core coming right into Attica too. Those winds more than 60 miles an hour, and they kind of peaked in that area around Attica. They were probably more than 65, 68 more, and then 59 east of Attica, 10 meters up. Again, the peak gust northeast of Rochester, it ended up being 34, so that's good news. If we had severe gusts, it was probably up towards Talma. The peak gust in the 30s at Fulton. Florida airport data is back up. We seem to have some sort of outage there. It may not have registered. The power may have cut to it before the storm. Looks like we may have had a cut. I mean, the highest gust I have is 32, but I wonder if we had a cut in the power there. It's back online, but the gust was 32, so I don't know whether we're fully going to know what the wind did in Florida, but any reports are greatly appreciated. We can at least loop it and kind of give us an idea of what we've had there. I think Cutler we're still getting data with that Cutler station or nearby. Looks like the gust there. We'll get our data to come in. So the gust there were 35, so that's not bad. Middle Fork, we'll see what kind of wind we've got coming in there right now. That doesn't look to be where the worst of the wind is, though. At least right now with that private station, yeah, the gust has been 24 so far, and we'll see if where the line is. The line's already gone through that location, so we've kind of dodged a bullet there. It's gone past Clarks Hill now. At least we've apparently dodged a bullet here at Middle Fork in Clinton County. Now we'll see what we've had here near Rossville. You know, my goal is to get a weather station that's airport quality in every township. I wish I could do that. If I had millions, I would do that for you, because this data is just so important when you're tracking. Yeah, the gusts haven't been too high southwest of Rossville either. So that's good news. Good news there. So we're getting kind of an idea of where we've had severe wind and where we've had damage. We have almost 1,000 households or customers without power in Fountain County. 1,000 without power in Vermilion County. Now Warren County, we've only got 66. That's pretty darn good. Pine Village had that gust, 52 west of Pine Village? So we may have dodged a pretty good bullet here. Now we had a gust of 58 east of Fowler, but none of the other gusts looked as high. And we don't have a lot of power out in Benton County. Now Newton County is a different story. We've got more than 1,300, nearly 700 in Jasper, Pulaski 218. Fulton's not too bad at 51. Carroll County 423. Now Howard County, the power outages are really going up. It's pushing 1,900. I do have a report of lots of damage near Flora. And still lots of reports from northern Fountain County of a lot of wind damage. But now I got this report of lots of damage. And so no power yesterday for 5 hours. So I've got a report of lots of damage at Flora, but I don't know whether that is damage from yesterday or that is damage today. So Margie, that report is really important. I appreciate it. Just curious as to whether that is damage yesterday or that is damage that you just received, because I think the Flora airport, we had a cut in the data and I couldn't get a good wind reading. We know that we've had some cores of damaging wind. Just trying to pinpoint, take the radar data and then take the data you're giving me and then take the data that the weather stations are measuring and kind of lining it all up. And Debbie, yes, Debbie, what do we have coming from Illinois? Well, we're in good shape. We don't have anything bad coming in out of Illinois. This is the main event of the day. Now, there are more showers. You can see we've got some thunderstorms out here. I'll pull the Lincoln radar up for you, Debbie, and we'll loop this. So we see we've got the line here. We've got this line here. The good news is, if you think about it, this is going to be very rain cool. The entire area. Thank you, Margie. Damage from yesterday. Okay. Yeah, that area hit hard yesterday, indeed. So we've got all this rain-cooled air in our area, and there's more rain-cooled air behind it. So it's going to be hard to really get things unstable today. So my thinking is, yes, we're going to get some additional showers and thunderstorms perhaps this afternoon, but the severe weather risk will likely be shifting a little bit southeastward, maybe getting into our far southwestern counties, but I think this is the main event of the day. You can see upstream, we got showers and thunderstorms, but if we're going to get any more severe weather today, it's going to be the far southwestern part of our forecast area, because this is a lot of rain-cooled air. The kind of the leading edge is here. It's hot and unstable south of that, so this is probably going to try to ride that gradient a little bit. So still more shower storms, but I'm not expecting anything like this the rest of today. So here we go. It is 1:07. Let's do a little bit of a reset here. Line of storms continues from Purdue to Kokomo to Michigantown to Kirkland, Lebanon, Crawfordsville, and all the way back to Rockville in St. Bernice. Behind it, you were in better shape. So this area, northwest of Peru, northwest of Rushville, Frankfort, northwest of Crawfordsville and Petersburg, it's just rain and thunder and lightning. We don't have any severe weather going on. Now, it may get a little windy, I think, from the southeast or east. The reason why I say that is that there is so much rising air motion with this complex of storms. We're kind of forming a little meso-low here. And we've got a sharp pressure drop. Well, behind this, there's a sharp pressure rise. So we may very well have some gusty winds in the rain in parts of the area from the east or the southeast. Lots of damage at Wild Creek Wildlife Center between Delphi and Camden yesterday. Trees down, animal enclosures damaged. Great report there, Carol. And I try to get these reports to the Weather Service so they have a record of them. I like to record all these. Sometimes they post them, sometimes they don't. I think it just depends on who's working there and what their workload is. But I like to get this data and make sure we have it on hand. Because what I like to do is take your reports, take the measured wind reports, and I will compare it to radar data, and it makes me a better forecaster for the future. And then I'll compare the preceding conditions to the storms. So I have kind of an analog in my brain of what occurred and what caused it. So it's very helpful. So given all that, I mentioned kind of breezy to windy in the rain behind it and the thunder and lightning. Keep in mind the flooding. We've got a lot of flooding from Howard and Tipton, Miami, Cass, Fulton, Pulaski, Newton, Jasper County. New flood report has come in near the Grissom Air Reserve Base. Flooding ongoing in the Eagle Point neighborhood. Unsure how deep the water is. So we have neighborhoods flooding. We have roads flooding. We have roads being washed out. We had we've got high water on US 35. North of Royal Center, we've got flooding at Roselawn and a lot of other areas that aren't even being reported that we've got flooding in this area. And even some localized flash flooding elsewhere outside of all these flash flood warnings. And keep in mind, if you're traveling east or southeastward, this is a dire flooding situation going on of significant flooding in Delaware County, Henry County. These are PDS flash flood emergencies in Henry County, Wayne County, Indiana. There's Delaware County. We've got Union County here. Many structures impacted, homes being flooded in this area. Got reports of many highways flooded in this zone. Neighborhood street flooding in Muncie, stalled cars. We've had reports of feet of water. We're getting water rescues in this zone. One water rescue even here in Grant County. Highway 5 and Highway 22. So if your travel plans are way east or southeastward, there are a lot of roads closed. And if you're heading northeastward in our forecast area, northward, there is a lot of flooding going on in that area. So be aware of that. Now let's get back to the severe part. Okay, so we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings up right now, but we do have a new flash flood warning for Boone County and also northwest Hamilton area that I cover. That's Sheridan. And even eastern Clinton County, I would say we're getting a lot of flooding here. I'm going to look at some of the totals. We don't have a flash flooding for eastern Clinton. However, I do think that some of these totals in that area are really high. Let me update the data here. And if we're not getting flash flooding, it's going to begin shortly. Yeah, so far the rainfall totals aren't out of control in eastern Clinton County, but the gauges need to update too. But a lot of big totals are coming out of Howard County. Southeast of Kokomo, we got a 4.5-inch rainfall amount. Greentown, though, has had almost 2. Southwest of Sims, we've had 3 inches. We've had 3 inches around Santa Fe. South of Bunker Hill, 3.37 inches. We've had 1.25 inches around Galveston. Another 2 inches at Peru. Another 1.62 at Royal Center. Now, luckily, it's only been around 7. Well, and again, I don't know the airport data here. I don't know. It's measuring about 7/10 at the Winnemac Airport. However, southeast of Winnemac, the total's about the same. I would have expected more rainfall than that. 6,500s southwest of Winnemac, where we had more than 7.5 inches of rain yesterday. So that's good news. At least we haven't had 2 more inches of rain there. Inch and a half northwest of Delphi. We've had 1 inch west of Pine Village. We've had 1 inch east of Boswell. We've had, 0.8 of an inch here southeast of Lafayette near Concord. Stone Bluff's had 0.8 inch of rain at Covington. 1.25 inches east of Attica. So those are some, just a peppering of some rainfall totals here. We'll pull up that wind data. I haven't done that for a while. So here's your wind data. So we see the wind shift, and we see the cores of wind right here. Sharpsville and approaching Tipton. There's the data that just updated. We'll do a loop here of that wind surging southeastward. The sharp wind shift to the northwest. We see it right here. We'll loop that. And there it is. So the highest winds right now, which trees down in Covington right now. We'll take a look at that storm. So right here, you see the higher winds. Some of these gusts are probably going to be plus 50 to 60, approaching Tipton right now as well. So those 3 areas, northwest of Tipton, Sheridan, just southeast of Lebanon. We'll go back to the Covington area. We'll go back 21 frames and look at, I'll pull up the storm relative. And there's some of that higher wind that's moving through Park County. And if we know that we've had trees down in Covington, well, we know this is probably producing some severe gusts. So there's Covington. See the bright red? Right there it is. There it is, moving right into Park County, corresponding with the much higher lightning. So we probably have some severe gusts coming out of this. We don't have a warning here, but I would bet Rockville to Fairview Park, we probably have some gusts up around 60. Marion's had 1/2 inch of rain at Remington. So some trees down near Covington. Let's see here. So if we know that's already produced trees down there, more than likely it's dropping trees down here also in Park County. So I would you could almost put a warning out for this here. And then, Vermilion, Park, and then, these are pretty decent gusts right here, just south of, southeast of Lebanon and near Sheridan and coming into Tipton right now, where I've got those X's. those look like there could be a few gusts to 60 miles an hour. You go a little farther north, gustiness here too, maybe more than 50, eastern Howard County, then east of Amboy. We're waiting on that Covington. I know I've got some gust data that comes out of Covington. So the highest gust at the weather station was 29, but that does not mean, but that's southeast of Covington. That doesn't mean that we haven't had gust 55 or 60 closer to Covington or in Covington. You know, these weather stations, you've got one tower and one anemometer, one spot. And you could have a gust of 70 down the road and you're kind of on the edge of it and you only measure a gust of 45. So again, it's that kind of situation. Not everybody's going to get the damage. So you could have a weather station at a county airport or something that, the gust was only 30. But if the town is 3 miles away and and you've got a bunch of trees, and well, obviously you've probably had a gust 60 or 70. And from the damage reports we're getting, out of Attica especially, those winds were definitely more than 60 miles an hour there. And there is the wall of wind. I mean, if you're going to put warnings out, and it's going to be kind of this corridor here, and it's going to be down here. That's kind of the last of them for us. Maybe eastern Tipton, but that's the last of any area that looks like we're going to have severe gusts. It appears the highest gust, let me see, at the Frankfurt airport, well, so far has been 32. That was the last report from the AWOS there, was 32. And at the Crawfordsville Airport, which is southwest of Crawfordsville, the peak gust was 32 as well. So that's good news. At least at that airport station, it was 32. Now, we can't say the same for everybody because obviously we've got damage in the area. But at least at those two weather stations, it was not severe. As long as we're getting that data, we don't have the communication errors. Walton, the gust was 46. So we had a gust of 46 at Walton and 37 at Grissom. Still getting more power outage data coming in. So I'll do a quick overview of that because a lot of you have kids in school and you're wondering about, okay, where do we stand? How bad is it outside? And there's some other damage reports. Morocco, trees down in Morocco, that makes sense. We had a gust at our weather station there at 56. Power poles down in Brook, east of Rensselaer, power poles down. They mentioned the gust there was 51 at the AWOS, but that AWOS is pretty far away. That AWOS is, they say it's nearby, but that's a good almost 8.5 miles away. So, and these wind measurements vary a lot. Again, like I said, you can have a gust of 70 at an airport, and 2 miles down the road it is 40. So it says the AWOS is nearby, and it's a good 8.5 miles away from there. So, and you get a massive difference in wind in 2 miles or 3 miles and 8 miles especially. So those winds there at McCoysburg, those were probably, if you're snapping power poles or knocking power poles down, those are more than 60. We've had limbs down in Reynolds. We've got limbs down around Monon. And trees down near Monon. I do have a report of some corn down and limbs down east of Fowler. That's where that gust of 58 was measured. We had Yeah, we had the 60 northeast of Monon, the 59 southwest of Monon, the 59 east of Attica, but the winds were higher in Attica. I don't have any doubt. And then Purdue Airport was 37, Fulton was 37, White County Airport at Last Track was 40, Cutler 35, Frankfort 32, Crawfordsville Airport 32, Grissom 37, Walton 46, Kankakee Sands 49, and 40 miles an hour west of Maderryville. I'm going to see what we've got out of the Peru airport. I don't think that data is showing up. I used to be able to access that pretty easily, and it keeps going out. So I don't have anything coming out of that station right now. Yeah, I don't have anything right as I speak. Galveston, that peak gust was 25. So hey, we'll take that. There was a pretty high wind nearby, but it's also reading that the sustained highest wind was 25. So I don't know whether there's an error there or what. Usually when you have a sustained wind at 25, your gusts are in the 40s or maybe 50, but it's reading the sustained wind was the same as the gust. So take that gust with a grain of salt. My job that I want to do for you is be as accurate as possible. And I like numbers, I like data. And I like standardization of the data. I want to make sure it's as correct as possible. And the gust northeast of Michigan town was 46, so it was exactly the same as Walton. So a 46 there. Looks like we're getting more flooding reports coming in. Water flowing over 600 east and 250 south in Cass County. Again, we showed that one in the Eagle Point neighborhood near Grissom of the flooding underway as well. So the storms are just about to exit our forecast area. It looks like at Lebanon, the storms have pretty much exited there. They're at Whitestown right now, and Zionsville, pushing out of our forecast area. Looks like the peak gust, at least there just south of Lebanon. We'll let the data wipe on the screen where that station is, right there. It appears that gust was 33, so that's not so bad either. We'll take it. We will take that. Maybe some higher gusts northeast of Lebanon and south of Lebanon. It's already gone through Sheridan. It's just in southeastern Tipton County right now. I know there's a weather station at the Sheridan Airport we can get good data from to see what we've had there. Let's see. Again, I'm just pulling as much data up as I can for you, just to really get a good idea of kind of where we are in terms of damage. And just in general terms, where we are with gusts in the area. So it's a process of multitasking, lots and lots and lots of multitasking. Okay, Sheridan Airport hasn't updated. Sheridan Aviation weather station is not updating. So I don't have any data coming out from that area. So it's just about to leave that zone. It's moving over the Indy Executive Airport. Be able to get gust data there soon. Storms going through Park County. Looks like these have weakened a little bit. They're a little more intense around Clinton. I don't know how high that weather station is at South Vermilion High School, but it's really helpful sometimes. I think yesterday it measured a 47 when the winds were actually about 60 in Clinton, so it may be off by 10 or 15 miles an hour. We're measuring gusts there to 22 right now, so maybe they're higher than that. It is quite gusty in Park County. Originally I thought, this storm's looking severe. And we're getting... Okay, I got a report of strong winds east of Rockville on 36. No wind measurement estimated, but strong winds being reported there. All right. So the main line's pushing out now. There is still rain behind it with some flash flooding. We've got significant flash flooding up here, especially from Winnemac down to Royal Center and also near the Grissom Air Reserve Base. Roads flooded, some washed out. We even had a few neighborhoods taking on water. For the rest of the day, the line keeps moving to the southeast. The back edge of the rain is at Morocco right now. Let's loop all this. There's the line that went through. I'll be plotting damage reports for the area. Let's go back to central Illinois. You see we've got some other showers and thunderstorms. Pull this down to 14 frames, loop it for you so you can see the movement. So we see some of this rain and thunderstorm action up here. Moving southeastward, I want you to notice something. Do you see this rain moving southeast and see this little bit right here near Decatur moving northeastward? Well, that is that hot, unstable air trying to push back northward, just like we saw yesterday. So remember, we're right on the periphery of this hot upper ridge, and it's trying to flex and push back northeastward. So it's trying to do that again. So we've got a little battle zone, a little boundary, a rain-cooled boundary, probably like right through here, and it's trying to force that boundary back north. So I'm thinking out loud here that we still get a little rain and thunderstorm action this afternoon. Some of this will impact us as well. If we're going to get any more severe weather or any more intense thunderstorm action like this, at any point the rest of the day or into the evening, it's going to be way down here in our southwestern counties. Park, Vermilion, maybe southwest Montgomery, southern Fountain County, far southern Vermilion, that corridor there. That's where the best shot is for any severe weather the rest of today. Attica put an alert out saying police want people to stay inside their homes because of downed trees and power lines. So we took a heck of a hit in Attica. We know we've got trees down in Covington. We know we've got trees down in areas of northern Fountain County. We've got flash flood warnings up for Boone, Tipton, Howard, Miami, Cass, Fulton, Pulaski, all the way to Jasper and Newton counties. We've had severe gusts. We know we've had gusts more than 60 near Kentland, 58 in Kentland. We're getting reports of trees down in Morocco. We've got trees down near Brook, trees and power lines down about 8.5 miles east of Rensselaer. We had a gust of 51 though west of Rensselaer at the airport. We know we've had gusts of 60 in northern White County around Monon, gusts near 60 east of Attica, but they've been higher in Attica, 58 east of Fowler, 52 west of Pine Village, northwest of Monticello Private Station had a gust of 50. It's not been as bad in Greater Lafayette because the gust at the Lafayette Timber House Airport was 35, Purdue Airport 37. It's not been as bad in Fulton County because the gust at Fulton was 37, and I believe the Rochester Airport, if memory serves me right, it is near 40, and 40 at the White County Airport. Frankfort's fared okay after a really rough one yesterday. The peak gust at the airport at Frankfort was 32. Cutler measured gust of 35. Crawfordsville Airport gust of 32. Grissom gust of 37. Walton gust of 46. Gust of 46 northeast of Michigan Town. Lebanon, the gust was 33. Galveston, the peak gust, well, I think there's an issue with that weather station at the moment. Athens, the gust was 34. So, that's not to say that nearby we didn't have some wind damage, but those are the actual anemometer gusts at 10 meters, what I measured today. Lots of trees and power lines down in Attica, tree limbs down in Reynolds. A lot of tree damage. Reports coming in just out of northern Fountain County, northeast of Williamsport. What else we got here? Some corn downed in eastern Benton County. We've got limbs down near Kentland. Limbs and trees down northeast and southwest of Monon. And again, that corresponds with those two gusts that we measured at 59 and 60. What else we got here? Just kind of going through everything for you before I go offline here. So that's where we stand right now. Just looking at all the Mesonet data that I've got and our own weather stations and private weather stations and some of the AWOS and ASOS in the area. If I get more, I'll be plotting them and I'll show you those to you on Substack. And I've got a plot of storm reports from yesterday with the wind and the hail as well that I believe I shared this morning. So that's where we stand as 135. I'm going to shut it down now. Be careful out there. Be safe. Kids, be safe. Before I get off here, I don't want to forget this. I want to do a quick power outage update because kids will be going home from school and some places are going to be without power. So we got a lot of outages in Newton County. We are now up to nearly 3,200 households without power. And when you think of the lower population in Newton County, that's significant. A lot of the county has no power right now. We've got nearly 900 in Jasper County, more than 200 in Pulaski. Now it's only 70, still 70 nonetheless in Fulton. White County, more than 500, 424 in Carroll. Now Cass County, not so bad. We've only got 21. Miami County, not so bad with 14. Howard County, nearly 400. Clinton County, we're faring better than we did yesterday. Just a few outages there. Tippecanoe, nearly 100. Nearly 100 in Warren County. Benton County, we've only got 3. We had that intense gust in the eastern part of the county, but we've only got 3 without power, so we'll take that. Fountain County, nearly 1,000. Not so much in Montgomery County, and only 33 in Boone County, and only 17 in Tipton. Vermilion County, though, 838. In Park County, we've got more than 250, 260. So big outages right now in Newton County. Newton and Jasper County and Fountain County hit very hard. And White County, there's a lot of power outages too. So that's just a quick update. We know some schools probably don't have power. Some are probably on generator. I did see, and check with your school or check with the school's website, and you'll get the alerts on your phone too, if your school's releasing early or it's just normal time. If you don't hear anything, it's normal time, I assume. I know Pioneer was mentioned that they were releasing early, on here anyway, but you'll want to check. North, and I got I mentioned here that North White was normal time, but they didn't have any power there. So that's where we stand, everybody. Be safe. I'm here for you. I want to keep everybody safe, and I'm going to keep the updates going on anything else headed our way. And I'm going to try to forward these reports to the Weather Service offices. We'll see if they plot them or not, but I'll try to make sure I get your data to them so we can have a good record of it from your place. Thanks, everybody.